Nonz, Valentine special. Now, this is something I was heavily, literally putting so much time and effort into this year. Now, here's the thing about this. So I made a goal this year to make a special of Nonz that was gonna be equal to one of my favorite anime movies that I've watched, which is My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising. So this is the things though. I tried to make my manga special equal to My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, and the reason why I was inspired by this is because I realized a lot of good choreography within the film of Heroes Rising, but I noticed that there wasn't a lot of good dialogue in the movie, and I realized that it could have been a whole lot better. I feel like the pacing was half-assed, but it was very good pacing due to this thing called evolution, but I feel like I could have done better personally due to me and how I write my manga, and this was supposed to literally be not only a clown on Heroes Rising, but something I felt like it lacked. I felt like it lacked a whole lot of dialogue. I felt like they could have done a whole lot more, especially with the characters of My Hero. So what I did was this. So back when I was in high school, I had this thing, back where I had my manga established, so where I wanted to name the city, which is Bayaki, which is based off the Bay Area. So the thing about this is Bayaki was literally the premise of all the teams of Nonz. Now this movie has heavy spoilers. This special of Nonz has a lot of heavy spoilers. Now, this is the Valentine's Day special, but later on it's going to be called The Reign of Guinevere. So, let's give this a good rundown story of what inspired me to make this Valentine's Day special. So, what was crazy about Nonz was, back when I was in high school, it was this. It was like, love is in the air in Bayaki City. Literally, I thought of this back when I was a sophomore in high school, but I didn't know what it was going to be. What it was going to be is, it was originally going to be just a girl that was magical with magical powers, and she sent a portal, and she possessed everyone in the dance. She made the children of Bayaki City fight each other. Originally, that was what it was going to be, but I changed it in order to match Heroes Rising. What this is a story about Gabaya and somebody Kazik fought in the past. His sensei, Kazik Tachihiro, fought this girl named Guinevere. Now, Guinevere is based off the female villain in Jump Force. She's also based off this card I used in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very beautiful play I did at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Club. What happened was, I lost the match, but I lost in the greatest way possible because of this. I literally made the best play in the entire club. This is my favorite play in Yu-Gi-Oh! What happened was this. There's this card right here that says this. It can make every monster stronger by 700 life points. So what happens is, I had 3 monsters in the field. I still lost the match, but what I did was, I had her as a field spell on the field, and I had 3 monsters available. So even though I was losing, even though I knew I was going to lose, I did the best thing possible, and I connected all 3 of the monsters with their attack points, and I attacked them, and I destroyed half of his life points. And that was my favorite play in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that made me feel just like the show, and that is really why I loved my deck versus everybody else's deck, because everybody else had a control deck, when my deck had twists and turns, and it made you actually visualize what was going to happen. It was very intense, just like the show was. And that is why I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So this villain is based off my favorite play from Yu-Gi-Oh! And she's also based off the female character from Jump Force, and her name is Guinevere. Now, what inspired me to name her Guinevere? There was this girl back in high school who I had a crush on named Tiffany. So the story between me and Tiffany was this. So Tiffany was a part of a gang where there was Vicky. So Vicky literally was like my freshman year mistake and my freshman year blessing, because she literally was a girl that I pulled freshman year. But what happened was, because I kept on literally thinking I was something I wasn't, I was doing dumb shit. Like, she had the stuffed animal and she named it Michael Pip. It was her imaginary friend that literally she had around school. The girl was fine and she had some really, really nice bosoms. But the great thing about Vicky and being her is, the thing is, literally, what's crazy is this. So after I literally washed out my reputation for freshman year, after my dancing gets played out, after they realized who I was as a person, I started doing dumb shit. Like, I hid Michael Pip in my locker. And literally, so it was crazy. So she was looking for her plushie all around school, and I was being such a dick to her. I took her plushie and I stomped it on the ground. It was so fucking funny. So, but it wasn't funny, because that's very dear to her. And this is a very great lesson about this. So Tiffany was a part of her posse. Tiffany was a part of her hangout group at lunch. And Tiffany literally despised me. She's like, where's Michael Pip? Where's Michael Pip? Literally. This story be literally. And I wasn't being cool. I was being a big bad bully. You know, it really sucked, man, and I'm really sorry for what I did to Vicky back in the day. I used to be such a jerk. She was all over me in the beginning of the year, but as the year wore on, after I ruined my reputation by doing too much, literally, she started calling it out. Stop looking at my breast, even though they're in plain sight. That still means she likes me, by the way, but anyway, like, this is Valentine's Day special based on Gravy. So what happened with me and Gravy? So Tiffany was in my 2D animation class with Stephanie and Jenny. And if you don't know who Stephanie is, and you don't know who Jenny is, go back to season 1. And speaking of playlists, if you don't know the characters of Nonz, this is a very character-based movie because this is all about character dialogue and action. This is action equal to the My Hero Academia movie. Unfortunately, I can only do a quarter of what I've made of the movie so far because of technical difficulties. But I do have some more footage, but I'm not releasing it. And that's the whole thing about Nonz. And the crazy thing about Nonz is this, is like literally, this is a story that's based off all 5 of the main characters, and they all play a critical role in this movie. So if you don't know who Nonz is, the entire cast is introduced in this movie. Even Ranye, who I'm going to explain a little bit further in the video, is introduced into this movie. So this movie, kind of like Dragon Ball Z, doesn't really fit in. Back to Tiffany. So Tiffany was in my 2D animation class with Stephanie. So I and her were working on our script. So I made a Nonz animation back in 2D animation class where I referenced Better. So me and Tiffany edited my script for Nonz. And she called Better. I'm like, I want to make a description for this guy who rides a skateboard and his name is Better. And she's like, so Better is an egotistical skateboarder, this stuff. So we had to make something kind of romantic. So me and Tiffany were in partnerships for our animation. So what happened was, there was this song by MC Laws called, Guinevere, who I think is a part of the Knights because he was a part of King Arthur or something. And like, it was nerd stuff, but basically, Tiffany gave me this idea. So Tiffany says there has to be a female conflict within this animation. So as he was writing the script for Better, an egotistical skateboarder, that's her description of Better. So I'm like, oh, I kind of like it. I didn't know what egotistical means, but that is how Better acts. So the egotistical skateboarder, which is Better, which is not what I call him, that's what Tiffany calls him. But basically, it's like this. So Tiffany said that this female character's name would be Guinevere because she liked my character names, Kido, Gabaya, Motohiro, Tito. So basically, she made this name called Guinevere. So I decided to name the main villain of this movie Guinevere. But it was originally just going to be a female, but there's also somebody else who appears in the movie that's later on that you won't see yet. So I only got a quarter of this movie done so far in terms of writing for this upload, but the movie is completely done. I have scans, I have everything for this entire play-by-play Valentine's Day special of Nonz. But the bad part about it is I was handling a lot of technical difficulties, so I couldn't really get into it. But I did just enough for you to absorb the concept and absorb the fact that this will and this can and this not only rivals but shits on the My Hero Academia movie because it was falling flat due to literally no character dialogue. It could have been way funnier. You could have had way more punch Bakugo. It was way too outlandish, but I do agree that it was very cinematic, and the only reason why it prevailed as one of the best anime films of all time was because of evolution. Even though the pacing was bad, the soundtrack was A1, but I'm like, we can do way better because of what they did, because I thought of fight scenes that shit on My Hero Academia in the manga. So this is just a general feel of how Nonz is. This isn't spoiling too much, but this is a heavy spoiler movie. But for right now, you won't be spoiled too much. Like, there are characters that are introduced later on in the series that appear in this movie. So just like Dragon Ball Z, this movie does not fit in. What this is this is when they are graduating. That's why Ranye appears. And Ranye, you go back to the playlist, is a part of Team Dropout. So Ranye appears in this movie. He plays a heavy critical role. If you don't know who Ranye is, Ranye is a parody of Kanye West. And this isn't Ranye's actual personality in the manga, but this is all for his person. So I want you to understand, all these personalities are exaggerated in this film. All these personalities are literally exaggerated in this movie. And they will be better arcs than this movie, but I'm saying, like, there's heavy spoilers, like, there are characters that really shouldn't be there, that are literally just introduced even in the middle of Nonz, but no farther than that, and literally, so, but That's because they're facing a villain that's equal to Kazuki Tachihiro, their sensei level in strength. So Grenavi's strength is to literally, her power is to take hearts and control them. So she can take your heart, she can switch it, she can change your emotions, she can make you fight somebody else. But apparently in the movie we have this one character named Everukia, who's based on Neon Genesis Evangelion and Uraraka from My Hero Academia. So she has the power that neutralizes other people's powers, and so she neutralizes Grenavi's powers, and that's why Kazik and the Masters can't be there. That's how powerful of a villain she is, and that's why it's meant to compete with the My Hero movie, because they are supremely outmatched. None of the adults are there, but that's the reason why, because if their adults are there, they'll be able to literally steal their powers. And this is one thing about the movie that's really, really complex. I've already stated in previous videos how you can add on to your so-called quirk and nonce, but in literally, you can add on things to your ability, but it has to be within your ability's limits. And that's a little bit complex. It can't literally be outlandish. Like, you can't literally do whatever you want. Your power, what you have to do is you have to train, and you have to add it to your power. You can only add the 6%. So you can add 1% somebody else's power to your power, but it's kind of like an inspiration. You can't like do his ability yourself because you don't come from the same plan. So it's kind of like that, yeah. And so it's no Sharingan, no dumb shit like that, but you can literally just add elements that in real life, like just how you can make your skin more solid by working out is exactly what you can do with your body, but you can be inspired by other people's ideas how to use their quirks. So that is what you do for Nonz, and here is the rundown of why this is such a good movie. So this has way too many like surprises, way too many elements that you will not see in the manga. But I tell you, the first arc of Nonz that I will be writing pretty soon is better than this film, special, movie, whatever you would like to call it, is literally better than this. The first arc of Nonz will be better than this, guaranteed. And I've been thinking about this for a while, but this is also great. So also, onto another thing. So this isn't the only film of Nonz I have in mind. This isn't the only special of Nonz I have in mind. So there's going to be another special that's based off the first arc, which I'm going to be working on next. So this is basically a feel of what the characters are, and basically a feel of what Nonz is as a series. So this is literally just something for you to get into the series. But for right now, there's no action scenes that I'll be uploading, but there will be hints of what's going to happen in later on events in Nonz. But here's the crazy thing about this. So there's going to be another special that's going to be based off the first arc of Nonz. So the next special is going to revolve around an elephant statue. So basically, there's this girl named Malizia, who's based off Neferpito and Carrot from One Piece. So this girl named Malizia is literally there. So what happens is Gabaya and everybody, even Kefani, yes, Kefani is in this movie, Zaf is literally plays some role in this movie, but the thing that I'm working on right now, the thing that you will be seeing right now is the Valentine's Day special. Zaf plays a heavy role in Nonz. But for right now, Kefani goes on a trip with Gabaya and everybody else to a field trip where they visit an Indian-like palace called the Taj Mahal. So this is what the next idea of the next special of Nonz is going to be about. So it's going to revolve around an elephant statue that's based off Zoe, because my auntie Lisa, who was the mother of Noelle, favorite animal was the elephant. So this is going to be a crystal elephant statue that moves, and it's based off the Taj Mahal from India, and that is where they're going to be for the next film, and it's called Nonz, Curse of the Elephant Statue. So Malizia's role is basically like this. So she's a part of the animal kingdom. It's based off chimeras, because the first arc will be based off chimeras. I will not be spoiling, but I'm going to be working on a chimera arc for the first arc of Nonz. So that's heavy. Just letting you know it's going to be based off chimeras. So basically, because it's based on chimeras, I will be making homage to the first arc of Nonz, which will be literally stated, and I will state the plot maybe in a future video, but for right now, I'm working on the chapter, so do not rush me. So here's the thing. So next film, for right now, you will enjoy Nonz, Valentine's Day special, and the next idea will be Nonz, Curse of the Elephant Statue. So the reason why it's made for that is because Malizia is based off the time I grabbed Neferpito at Fanime. And that is why it's going to be such a good movie. So this movie is going to be based off action and comedy, and this other movie is going to be based off plot. A lot that you have to be informed about. A lot that you have to really be informed about is that The second one is gonna be heavy based off story. Well, this one is based off character interaction. So this is the main difference between these two. So this is literally the greatest part about this. So for right now, I want you guys to enjoy. So before you guys literally watch this, I want you guys to go back and watch the entire playlist of Nonz so you understand everything play by play about what's happening, and you'll love it. So basically, this is Nonz, the Valentine's Day special, with Zaf, Ranye, and many others will play a very important role in this film. And the second one is based off Nerfipito at Fanime, and it will be Nonz, Curse of the Elephant Statue. And this is also the debut where Gabaya will yell, Kaze Sensei! And it's so crazy, because that is what Kazik Dachihiro's nickname is. So everybody knows, this is just a slight spoiler, what they call Kazik Dachihiro, who's the sensei, they call him Kaze Sensei! It's so freaking many, and I love it. I love my characters in Nonz. So please check this out. You'll love it. So this is Nonz Valentine's Day special. I hope you enjoy it.
Pick it up. Soggy Murrah.
Fuck the other shit, we got Marlo on the beat. We'll be right back.